everybody. Appreciate y'all for joining us on this one and one sports show. My name is Shawnee,
I'm Dante.
and we appreciate y'all for joining us again. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. And we think we got a pretty good show for y'all this week. Um, Only really three topics, but it's three big topics. We're gonna first y'all, start with some Lamar Jackson. He got his new contract, and then we're gonna go to the NFL draft, and then finish it off with these NBA playoffs since they're in the second round right now. But let's go ahead and start with this. So Lamar finally got paid.
Finally,
I forgot. I'm looking it up now to just get the details of his contract.
I
But
got a few of them off the top of my head because I got into a debate on Facebook because, and I just want to say this while you
that
pulling
damn
up
Facebook.
the information. All right, you and the guy was trying to make it like I was just a dummy. What it is a lot of times agents know the game, players know the game, so that they can get more clients and you can get the name buzzing. They put out that total figure. Lamar is not going to have that contract and make that entire 250 million. After the guaranteed money is up, he's going to go to them and say, "My guaranteed money is up. It's time to renegotiate." Which is another thing I'll get into a little bit later in the conversation as to why he should have had a deal previously. But he's going to get 185 million guaranteed. From the information I was looking at from an NFL beat writer, basically at signing, remember we kept seeing that 135, 135 at signing is guaranteed. And so with all the other details as far as total guarantees, it's 185. The NFL union was pushing for him to get a guaranteed contract. So that's where that story came from. Now it's coming out. The leak. When I always say this, the leaks I've learned, the leaks will come out and show themselves. Sometimes it's the team, sometimes it's the player, and Lamar doesn't have an agent, so it makes sense that unions pushing their guy. Appreciate the union for doing that. That's why it's good to have a union. So the team obviously was leaking other information, but he got the 135, he got the 185 total, but the 52 million per year. Oh, that's the guy was like highest ever record setting. I was like, bro, you don't see that they did that deal similar to the Hertz deal, and you going crazy over this right now. So I took a screenshot of Deshaun Watson's total guaranteed of 230 million versus the 185. And then I had to hit him with the what was that old joke of if Johnny had two apples. And I was like, hey man, if Johnny had two apples, this guy's getting this much. I said, bro, that's 45 on the table. I was like, so he didn't push it past that guy's contract. They are basically saying that is an anomaly in a unicorn. The other reason I made that statement is they knew, hey, bro, we got to get this deal done because now who's sometime around camp, right after around the tags that are done, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, or deals are probably going to get done. And the
I believe
Bengals,
Josh Allen already has a deal. I believe
oh, I'm
that.
sorry,
You talking
I
about
made a
Joe
mistake.
Burrow?
Joe Burrow
Yeah.
and Joe Burrow and Josh.
Justin Herbert.
I keep missing this. Justin Herbert. Those J's are messing me up. And so yes, Herbert and Burrow. I'll say Herbert and Burrow's deals are coming. And they're like, and I know that he could always say, "I won that MVP," and that's that ultimate trump card. So those deals are coming. Thank you. That this is the last time, other than his play, that we will have to talk about that deal. Now it'll be like his deal is done because what's going to happen? Just like that deal looks like it's terrible now. Like he's way down. They're going to push him down, and other guys are going to come up. Like I don't know who the next crop of quarterbacks. Well, Kyler's already done, so the next crop after this one, they'll come and jump them. So
It's
I'm
like
ecstatic.
I'm surprised because, like you said, I looked at Watson. I'm pretty sure the NFL did too. Watson is a one-off. Watson is
Yep.
not Watson. Watson's contract does not represent the market. That's a one-off. That's why the owners were so pissed that the Haslam's was giving him that deal because it don't make no sense. It's just it don't make no sense. And so the QB that I was looking like, who basically is the highest guarantee in the market, is Kyler Murray, because he has, I think he is higher than Russell Wilson. Total guarantees. Because I remember people doing the same thing with Jalen Hurts, when they kept focusing on he had 51 million a year because he was the highest. I'm like, okay, yeah, he makes more in 1 year than Kyler Murray, but when it's all said and done, Kyler Murray's money is still gonna be going on while both him and Lamar's money is gonna stop. And that's who I thought Lamar was trying to get more. I thought Lamar's at least trying to get more than Kyler. But then he what, like 4 million below.
Yeah.
Which is he still
Yeah.
got paid, but in the land of today's quarterback free agency, they always looking at the next guy, especially if they perform better than that guy.
Mhm.
And to see him getting, cause even if it's like I think Tyler has he's 189. Even if say, man, give him 189.5. Give me more than that guy because I've done more. I got an MVP. I
Yeah.
got a better winning percentage. Playoff. I don't know if Kyler Murray has a playoff win.
No, his only playoff appearance was dismal. It was it was the start of getting Cliff Kingsbury up out of there. They just, from what I heard, they just quit because it was that Monday night game, and by the time I could get a chance to look at it, it was already out of whack. So I was like, I ain't watching it. I was just like, but I heard it was really bad. But yeah, he can, and that's why I say, and I keep saying, all right, you got to look at it. What's the saying? Yeah, don't just look at the end result. Look at the process. And I will say Lamar Jackson is the poster child for this. Don't just look at the result. Oh, he got the contract. Yes, he got it. Good job. But when they talk about changing the game, I don't see him being able to spark a movement in which other guys will not have agents. You know what I do see? Jalen Hurts agent? Yeah, they're gonna holler at him. They're gonna holler at her. And congratulations to her. I saw that she's having a baby this summer. So to his agent. So like that's the type of deal. Like agents are there for a reason. They have connections. They can make sure they can spin things in the press. You don't need to be on your phone on Twitter saying, I'll never sit. That's whatever you're doing. If you're responding to somebody and you laugh, cool. But you don't need to be doing all of that. And I know people keep bringing up his mother and they bring up his business partner. I say, I'm not going to go and talk about a man's mama or nothing like that. And I don't know exactly who did all of what. But I think the whole process was wrong. Changing the game would be Clutch Sports. And everybody, if you don't know the Clutch Sports story, that was LeBron's friend and business partner.
Mm-hmm.
Had him sit with him when he got one of his deals, probably that second deal, because in the NBA, you always sign, or I think it was the first one. You sign that first deal because it's more money you ever seen in your life. And then after that, that next deal is when you actually hit the market.
Yeah.
Because it's just like that you have, that's why I always say the man gave, if a guy leaves, he probably gave the team 7 years. So in 7 years, you couldn't figure it out. That's what I always say. So that's changing the game and putting, Rich Paul on. He's had some deals that didn't work out, like every agent, like Nerlens Noel didn't take that deal and ended up having to sign for like $3 million and just he will never recoup that money.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's deals like Eric Bledsoe. He knew he was an injury-prone client, forced their hand. He did sign the tender offer, forced their hand, played chicken, and then the Suns signed him. He gets hurt that December, out for the season. Contract guaranteed. Agent success. You knew that you had a client that was worried about their injury history. Like we talk about with players all the time, especially a Hurts. Hey, man, I'm out here running the ball. He made it through one season relatively healthy. They ran him more, banged up. He said, nah, I need that bag. And now, obviously, same with Lamar. I bet you the run decreases. I won't know how much, but I'll put the over-under. If it's over 900 rushing yards, I would take the under because I do think, hey, man, we got you that really nice receiver, Zay Flowers. Slot guy, slots.
Yeah, he
or
has
guys
no more excuses no more for receivers position.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to hear Hink be like, hey, man, I'm with you, Hink. No excuses. You got to get it done. You got Andrews up the scene as your tight end. You got a young slot guy that's going to come and be productive for whenever Odell is healthy. He's out there taking the top. And then you got Bateman thinking, hey, man, these teams are starting to decline these fifth-year options if these guys are not getting it done. Rashad Bateman, injury-prone seasons. I think this is going into year 3. He's got to produce. So you got Bateman. You got Odell, Andrews, and a young rookie. I always say this, running back wise, hopefully Dobbins can do it. But with Lamar back, anybody can run behind that line because the line is pretty solid. But the threat of Lamar running the ball is going to open up rush lanes. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to be like, hey, is Lamar going to improve as a passer? How healthy is he going to be? All of those things I want to talk about. I can talk about the playoff success because you got to get there first. You got to talk about the fact that they've, I won't say they had a free ride, but Pittsburgh leading into, I know we're going into the draft conference, that Pittsburgh had a nice draft. And I don't know if their quarterback is worth a
I
damn.
gotta look at theirs again.
Theirs is, I know they took the tackle for Broderick Jones from Georgia. And then I know, like, in my group chat, they was like, man, they got to take Joey Porter Jr. here. But I had heard from 105.3, they were saying that Joey Porter Jr., there was some people that were thinking, well, maybe he's a second round player. Well, the Steelers, because of their trade with the Bears, had the first pick in the second round. Boom, got Joey Porter Jr. So you help your secondary and your up front. That's, and you already got a guy that they did it analytically. George Pickett does well going down the field. And he had a good success rate, but they didn't do it a lot. Obviously, to get plays down the field, you need better protection, you need more time. So they looked at solving that issue. If they can improve the line some more, Najee Harris is a good back. So you got a guy that's a good running back. You got a young quarterback, a young receiver, and the defense is always salty. So that's always gonna keep you in games. I guess to me, their biggest thing is the development of the quarterback, and he's the same as his brother, TJ Watt. How healthy can he be? How many games you gonna get? And that's where we're at with that, because he changes that defense when he plays.
His brother's on first take today, but
word.
Mm-hmm. He was just because him and his wife bought some ownership of a soccer club overseas. So he was just talking about that. He wasn't on there too long, but yeah, I agree. I agree with what you were saying.
Shout out in the chat. I see Tommy B said he gonna load up. What's going on, Tommy? What's going on, Just Being Jazzy? Appreciate y'all checking out.
Before work, before he do his pleasure.
Gotta do that.
Just Being Jazzy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with everything you said about Lamar and stuff like that. It's gonna be interesting to see, because you get to a big payday, but I don't want to see him change his game up. How sometimes they become so mindful because now they got paid, just stop doing what they was doing. If your throwing attempts increase, let that be a flow of the offense per se. Because now that you have your weapons,
and I forgot to do OC. They got rid of Greg Roman.
Mm-hmm.
So, which he's not bad, but it's kind of like, I heard Bomani Jones say this. Hey man, he's going to give you the same thing. So if you have that type of quarterback, he's going to give you that. Now he doesn't have much of a counter, but he's going to give you that, and that's going to work. And that goes back to he was the OC for Colin Kaepernick when he was in San Francisco.
Oh.
And yeah, so it's just like he can take off, and then it's just like it's like a pitcher. He don't got the secondary pitches. He don't got nothing else. He's just like, I got a fastball, and once you catch up to that, hey man, you get stymied and stifled. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited, and it's like, man. So
Todd Monken, okay, I was trying to look for the name. Yeah. Todd Monken.
Yeah. So yeah, we gotta now we can go ahead and transition. We've been touching on it because you can't talk about the moves that they made and what they did combined with their draft. The Ravens did. So we can start with them since we transitioned into the draft. The Flowers kid, that's a guy that I know they were interested. The Cowboys were interested. A lot of teams were. But the NFL is probably the last league. I don't know. Baseball might be there too, but it's changing. They have the mindset of what things used to be. Like the X receiver has to be this body size, and a small guy is a slot guy. And a lot of that is just because the further you go down the field, it's harder to get a small guy. And the guys that are smaller that end up making it, like Tyreek Hill can play out. If you play him exclusively outside, he's still going to make you stress because of the speed and the quickness. And he's the guy that a lot of guys can do that quick 40 time. That 40 time is great, but that straight line, he can go from 0 to 60 like that.
Yeah,
he got the quickness,
he got
and
speed and quickness. That's just
like that play against Buffalo, that playoff game. It was just like, hey, bro, why couldn't he tackle him? He said, yeah, bro, he's incredibly fast, incredibly quick. And so it was just one of those where you couldn't get him. And so I know they didn't have a second round pick. And then the biggest thing is for me is their draft is I thought that I kept hearing rumors they were going to trade for DeAndre Hopkins during the draft. I heard that it was almost a done deal, but also it was one of those whoever when you are putting out a story, it's great to put that if anything doesn't mess up, like it's nearly a done deal. Well, some of that language came to be true because the deal has not been done yet. And the other thing is he's another player without an agent. So it would have been real exciting to be like D Hop, Odell, Zay Flowers, let's roll with it. But they didn't do it, and for me, I'll take the Ravens at their word. The defenders that they drafted, I'll take it at their word. Like those are probably going to be solid guys. It's the offense I'm worried about. I'm hoping that if you keep throwing darts at the board, eventually you're going to develop. I'm hoping Zay Flowers develops into a high-end premium talent, and then they can have a productive passing offense with him.
Well, Zay, he's a inside receiver. So Lamar, he already attacks the middle. He reminds me of New England. They always attack the middle. That's how him and
Yep.
Mark Andrews got such a great connection. So Flowers going to get his targets because he's going to be in that middle as well. And where else they going to have him? But he has an inside receiver now. He has a tight end, of course. Then his two outsides is just going to be iffy because they both coming off an injury.
Mm-hmm.
Odell Beckham and Bateman. So it's going to be interesting to see how the offense with the new, well, at least their first round pick was Zay Flowers. And then what I also got out the draft, I definitely like the aggressiveness of the Texans they did in the first round. It took me by surprise because I was under the impression, okay, you have a defensive coordinator as the head coach now. Traditionally, a defensive coordinator, a lot of times they want to establish a strong defense, especially when they got so much first round picks or high first round picks. Let's get this defense solid, and then we'll worry about the offense. They kind of go, offensive coordinator always look at the quarterback, and so you got Ryan as the coach now, and they got their quarterback C.J. Stroud. For whatever reason, I just hope he don't fall into that OSU curse or whatever, NFL quarterbacks.
Man, I always say this: separate the other guys from this guy's individual talent. I had that debate in the group chat all the time. I was like, my buddy was just like, he's not believing in Caleb Williams because he's like, name me a USC quarterback that's been good, and I'm like, name me a USC quarterback that looks like that. Like I can't. I mean, I'm not saying the other stuff people are saying, but I saw the mobility. I learned a lot from guys when the chips are down. That's why if you look at it, the quarterbacks that are most successful, because it's not an exact science, the QBs that are the most successful though normally don't come from the blue chip programs, or if they come from them on a down year, you can see what they are. Like Bryce Young, hey bro, still put up the numbers. Hey, all them receivers went to the pros. Don't matter. Give me the ball. Let's go. The offensive line, as I saw against the Texas game, isn't the traditional Bama line. Tennessee didn't have a best defense, still lit them up with whoever he got out there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he was still keeping them in that game in the national championship when the receivers kept going down. He was still making plays. So that shows me that, and then the Georgia game, because bro, when you look at it, all 11 of the guys from the original team got drafted, and he's just back there, just give me the ball, just don't. I mean, I sure hate, man. I was watching, I was like eating New Year's Eve dinner and like watching the game because it was just, I mean, he was putting on a show, and so I ain't gonna lie, I was trying to let you get your spiel. That was my favorite draft for the fact that two things: you got your quarterback, and it's not that you got your defender. As an organization, we have came up on this pod and we have dogged the Texans. Everybody has, rightfully so. So you put out a smoke screen that was good enough to fool everybody doing it. The only person that had it right, I think it was Daniel Jeremiah, and I should have sent it to you.
I heard about
day of the draft. He dropped it, and I was just like, he's the only one that
hit that trade, his mock.
He hit the trade. He hit a bunch of the stuff with the mock. Now, this was a year that nobody's mock was right. And, for once, some team, the guys up in Frisco, finally figured out, stop tipping your pick, because they threw everybody out. The Cowboys threw everybody out, too. But I love what the Texans, I know people are like, man, well, I'll say this. For a defense like that, you need the edge rusher. Jalen Carter, the Texans aren't in the position to take a guy like Jalen Carter because if he messes up and for some of the things that you can get certain things anywhere, but for the type of city that he would be going to, the big city and a lot going on. And man, we need you focused. We need to win. We need this pick to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Go get Will Anderson. Some people say,
Well, he
man, I
ultimately
think
ended up
he's a
got drafted by another big city, so Carter.
yeah,
So
yeah. But the only thing I can say with that one, when he gets to Philly, he's going to get into a locker room that just went to a Super Bowl. He's going to get
yeah,
into a
he
locker
got
room with
vet
Fletcher
leadership in there.
Cox, yes, and leaders. And I'll say this, hey man, Jalen Hurts looks like he's one of those guys that you're going to follow, and it's just like if he come holler at you, tap you on the shoulder. Because I know if y'all don't know, offense and defense don't talk in the NFL. Like teammates, you have to really somebody to be your boy for you to go over. It's the offense ain't with the offense, defense with the defense. And that's kind of how it goes. But I think if he came over and be like, "Hey, man, we need you to get it together. We need you on the," I feel like they'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna lead them. We're gonna rock with you." And so I love what the Texans. I know everybody loves what the Eagles did, and what they did was outstanding. Like to get
Damn near
Jalen
turning
Carter,
themselves into the University of Georgia again. They
Georgia,
just
yeah, to get
infatuated with
Jalen
that
Carter,
school.
Nolan Smith, and Kylie Ringo. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing is with Kylie Ringo, somebody in the NFL, either somebody knew something or the Eagles are smarter than everybody. But something happened with his evaluation. Like I've heard some things that people have watched him and was just like, yeah, he's talented, and he's talented, and it's one of those things like maybe it's hopefully he's in the right situation and they can coach those things out of him. Well, I hope not. I hope not against Cowboys, but I heard he's the guy that you definitely gonna attack. Like you can go out and attack, and that's not what you want to hear for a corner that's taken early. But I don't know, man. I think as a defensive head coach, I really want D'Amico Ryans to work. So I'm glad he got take the quarterback, and what he should do. Hopefully he does is you oversee the whole team, but the defense is your baby. You make sure that
Mm-hmm.
they're right. You make sure the play calling is right because the defense can help that quarterback. And then you got the running back that they got from last year's draft, and now you're starting to be like, okay, now this is, as you said it a million times, Sonny, this is an expansion team. Now you can start to
Yeah,
not
they
look
had
like an
so much.
expansion team.
They had so much. They had so much holes they need to fill. They had picks galore, not only from finishing low in multiple seasons, but from the Watson trade. So
Yep.
when they went and traded for Will Anderson, that okay. Let's just use all these boatload of picks that we have, and
Hmm.
with the Texans when they picked that third pick, they said, well, actually when they picked Stroud, they when who was that? Carolina picked first. As soon as they
Yeah.
soon as they put their um pick for Young,
The card in.
yeah, Texans immediately put their card in to pick C.J. Stroud. And that's that whole smoke screen you was mentioning earlier. Because I remember somehow you saw, and I think, and you saw um, the downfall of this. I was gonna get to it when the media tries to push a certain player, and that was Will Levis. And I don't know if you remember watching the draft. It was a graphic that came on that was showing Levis, and it was saying like I think it was like maybe like in the middle of the first round, and it said he had
Mhm.
a less than 1% chance of not getting picked in the first round. Next thing you
Yeah.
know, pick 31 came. He's still, he's still there after the
Yeah.
first round.
And
So
I
they,
applaud. I applaud him for that one because it's like if you don't think a guy with the quarterback position, we have to do this, and this would we worked so much better. Maybe if you go back and look at it, maybe a guy like a Jalen Hurts should have been like a late first round pick. But if you take a guy like that, you take him at 5 and he needs a little time, then it's like, oh, he's a bum, he's a this. Maybe a guy like Dak Prescott, maybe they need to go in the 4th round. And the way he looked at his rookie year, maybe he need to go in the 1st round. And then if you put him in the right
oh, see, we lost Dante on some technical issues. But yeah, just getting back to the Will Levis point, he must have heard whether it was from the media or from his agent at the time of the draft, somebody was telling him, "Hey, we about to, you have a chance to be in a first round pick." I remember right before the draft, there was some report saying he has the potential to be the number one overall pick, even over Young. So, and then at the end of the day, you still see him in the green room, just him and his girlfriend basically on the TV screen. So that's the only thing I think the media, when they pump up a certain player as much as they did Levis, that player ultimately comes to I'm about to say New York. This time it was Kansas, wherever they have the draft at. They'll come to the draft and go sit back in the green room. And unfortunately, when they don't get picked, the camera will just be staying right there on their face the whole time. Like, man, if I would have known, if I would know I was gonna be in this situation, I would have stayed home and just, at least be with my family. But yeah, so I was kind of, I don't know why the NFL really wasn't the NFL, it was the media, just the NFL media, just pumped up a player so much because all of his work, it wasn't like he was a bad player, quarterback in college. It's just you saw the media just really pump up one player, and then all of a sudden that player just falls out in the first round. So you may think it's overhyped, but maybe Will Levis wasn't a quarterback with a first round grade. Maybe he was a second round grade, but you won't never know because of how the media was portraying him to be like a top 3 overall pick. So, so we talk about the Texans picks while we wait for Dante to get his technical issues straightened out. So we talked about the Texans pick and their aggressiveness in the first round, not only picking the number 2 pick, but then trading their picks with Arizona, who was clearly looking like they set themselves up for a big draft next season. Cause they got Houston paid a heavy price to get Will Anderson Jr., but I mean, you an expansion team basically. You have to make the big moves to put your team on in hopes of the right direction. Because that team, that organization has had so much other stuff that's basically front office related. You have to. I'm just talking about how the Texans, some may think that they overpaid for Will Anderson Jr. with the picks they traded with Arizona, but with that particular organization and the cloud that's been hanging over them for the past several seasons, mainly from the front office, and then you want to do what you can to steer that franchise in the right direction, that they able to use those picks, bundle them up for a hot prospect and Will Anderson Jr. So now I look at my other team. I look at the Cowboys draft, and I think in this draft total they have more trades. It was a record in trades in the draft, and I don't think the Cowboys took place. No, I think the Cowboys have one. I think they have one trade in this draft. It was like for the later rounds. And
Yeah, they traded up to get the top of the 6th to get the cornerbacks that they drafted.
and that person may not even make the squad. So because you saw Buffalo, who I believe when they jumped one spot up to get
They're
Kincaid,
trying to get the Cowboys.
and I believe Josh Allen and Kincaid they're gonna go off. That's
Yeah,
another weapon. But I was thinking the Cowboys was going to get the other Mike Mayer from
yeah.
Notre
I,
Dame, but they
I,
won't.
I,
I don't mind the pick they ultimately do with Mozzie Smith because I understand. I don't know if you heard when they was watching the draft at the Star, and then they was thinking that it's going to be Mayer, and the fans that was attending the draft party, and when Smith's name got called, it was literally crickets. They didn't know. They were like, man, who the hell is this? They didn't know. But at the time, I knew. Okay, Okay, now y'all going after defensive tackle, which they don't normally do. They don't draft
especially a
defensive
one
tackles this
technique.
early. Exactly. They trying to stop the run game, and that was kind of a surprising move to me in the first round because I was going under the impression that they, especially how last year ended with Dak
Hmm.
playing pretty much maybe one of his worst games of his career, you gonna do because it's not like you can't get rid of Dak because you got to extend his contract, so you going to
Yeah.
start getting him weapon after weapon after weapon. But the fact that they went with a D tackle for their first pick, that was surprising to me. I believe Zay Flowers was still on the board, was he?
Um,
Oh, I forgot. I don't think he
I
was. I
forget.
don't
I
think he
forget
was.
where. I don't think he was on the board, but for me, I think the biggest thing was we don't know how these teams. So I'll touch on the Texas first. We don't know how these teams' boards are. Like for one player that makes the Texans look bad is the fact that they took Stingley over Sauce Gardner. So right now that looks bad, but like I've heard from that people that I've heard this from the YouTube. I get a lot of information from the YouTube guys. The only like actual scout that I like get info is from like the people that are media scouts now that used to be in the league. Like the
Mm-hmm.
one guy, he's terrible, and I see why he doesn't have a job. And I would say that to his face is the guy Michael Lombardi. That guy's a complete idiot sometimes. Like I heard him saying about like the whole league is full of number two receivers. There's only like a few ones, and I was just like, the Kyle Lamb, a second team All Pro. So you got the three guys All Pro, and then him four. So in that case, by your logic, there should be five ones because definitely the All Pro people, and that can fluctuate from year to year. But just talking about the running game and this and that, and I'm like, bro, what world are you living in? And then like the Cowboys, I think they're figuring this. We brought in Cooks. We know what we got in Lamb. You about to extend him, and my thing is Michael Gallup being back is going to be a big boost for this team because this is at times he looked and he did routes and it's like, bro, what are you like? It just his body didn't seem right. So hopefully he'll have a full healthy off season. He can be right. I think they're looking at it as this. Hey, bro, we spent the third round pick on Jalen Tolbert and was thinking about taking him in the second. He's got to step up, and it's the type of receiver he is for what they're going to grow with the West Coast offense. A lot of slants and things like that. The bigger body receiver. So hopefully he gets it together. So now you have, four guys that you can depend on. Maybe you get the bottom of the roster guys, the Turpins, and all of that, and you work with that. And it's just like make your strength a strength. Like I know I'm tired of, and that's the one thing that would always notice worried me. No matter how good things were with the Cowboys defense, every true Cowboy fan would know. Um, and our deep down fan nightmares, hey, bro, if they decide to run this ball 30 times,
Mm-hmm.
they can beat us. And that was always the concern. And now I'm thinking, I remember Mozzie Smith because I had looked up breakdowns from Steve Avila from TCU, and it was like, hey, sometimes Steve got him, and then sometimes it was like, oh, that guy's pretty. He looked kind of good, but I had heard his name whispered, but I was like, nah. It was a surprise when they called it because they ran the smoke screen, tight end, tight end, tight end, and their number one tight end on the board was Laporta from Iowa. That because
Yeah.
he could, they still going old school. I don't love it, but they're still going old school. You want the guy to be able to block
Now he was
and as
available.
well as run like you say what?
Laporta was available. He got picked
Yeah.
third pick of the second round, so he
hmm
was available, but they decided to go with
They
Smith.
had him and they showed the conversation about it and it was crazy. But I want to mention about the Texans about them trading up the draft capital, right? So
Mm-hmm.
last year you had Stingley first round, you had Kenyon Green first round, who I heard had a rough rookie year. Hopefully he can bounce back. And then you had second round Jalen Petrie. So you got two secondary pieces you got that draft. And then you got, offensive linemen. You got a left tackle that you just gave an extension to. You got John Michie, who unfortunately dealt with cancer, fighting
Mm-hmm.
back. So you got him. He's going to be on the outside. And then, and then the other draft picks you had a third and a fourth. You got Damian Pierce in the fourth. So if you take your that draft, which was the start of it, then you got this one. Okay, I got my quarterback. I got my line in decent shape. I got him a weapon that's coming back. I got him a veteran and Robert Woods, professional. From everything I've heard, good professionalism. Going to run the routes, going to make things work. You got a Dalton Schultz that not dynamic, not great, but he's going to get first downs. He's a
Yeah.
reliable person. Blocker, which, like I just said, not just the most important thing in today's league. So you got a base where it's like everybody ripped Casario for he's getting all these 1 year guys. Why am I gonna spend all the money on everything and I don't know what I got? I got the
Yeah.
QB. I let these guys money come off the book. Then CJ Stroud, offensive rookie of the year, take the bag, and then you go and you spend and you catch up for what you can't get in the draft. You can only get so much in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you get these draft picks, they hit, some will, some won't. You go out and get some proven veterans next offseason when you got some. I'm assuming they're going to have some more money because you only don't have draft picks if you sign the guys that you
Oh no,
that you drafted and you sign for money.
huge cap
Yeah.
space.
Or you spending money every offseason. They haven't been doing that. So they're going to have the bag next offseason with a young QB, a young running back. You can add another one if you see one. Because I'm not going to lie, I was thinking, look, what if they traded back or what if Bijan fell to 12 was one scenario I was thinking. So you have both of them. And I don't want to say this. I salute the Eagles for their draft. I can salute my rival for what they done. And I know the report came out that GMs were mad about all the love Howie Roseman was getting. And I was like, that's some hating stuff. Like, just draft better and beat them. You don't like getting talked about him? Oh, he made all these moves. Beat him next season and
Mm-hmm.
see how that goes. So I was just like, yeah, that was whack. But thank God they didn't get Bijan. I didn't want them to get. I'd rather them get Bijan than Jalen Carter because the running back lifespan is lower. But I didn't want to see a guy that I love to see run the football and play and want him to be successful in the
Well,
league.
they didn't
My
get
rival.
Bijan, but they end up because since cause Bijan with Detroit,
He went 8 to Atlanta,
Atlanta, yeah.
which made no sense. But I mean,
Yeah,
the
I'm
offensive
trying to think
it
of
was
how he's
already
gonna
good.
be.
But
I think he's gonna be seeing something similar to Saquon Barkley, a dude, a running back with talent. He don't really have nothing around him. They're just gonna be giving him feed him, and they see
they got an
and
offensive line. That's
they
the one thing they have an offensive line because that's the thing. Their yards per carry and their line, it was already good. Then they got another lineman in the draft, and I'm like, so they're gonna be able to run the rock. What they're trying to do is they don't they don't trust
they
Desmond
don't
Ritter.
have Gage no more. They don't have Gage.
Yeah, they don't
Not
have Gage. Basically,
not
they
Gage.
are drafted weird because they have Kyle Pitts as their stalwart,
Yeah,
and then they
yeah.
have Bijan, and so that's Bijan is man. I'm already thinking it's early. Got him on my radar for fantasy because they ain't got nothing. I wouldn't take Pitts, but I'll take a back. I'll take a young back. Somebody probably gonna overdraft him, but if
I,
he falls to the right spot, I'll take him.
it's gonna. I believe it's gonna remind me of Saquon Barkley, a team with so minimal weapons.
Hmm.
Um, you're just gonna keep handing the ball off
Yeah,
to him, and
yeah.
unfortunately, you're gonna
And
put
then they
that
throw some.
workload on his body.
They're gonna put that workload on them for sure. They're gonna put it on them. But I know you had mentioned the Cowboys draft, and I just wanted to mention something that was really dope about their draft. Um, the Cowboys drafted
Oh, Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn, and his father Chris Vaughn works for the Cowboys, and it was crazy because I really get into the draft stuff. Like basically, people watch the first and second round. I will admit it. Yes, I listened on the radio for day 3. I watched day 3. I watch it because I'm like, these guys, what they call it, the scout day. You might see a guy that like, look, this might be a moment where he gets picked. He's in the round league 2 years and then he's gone. But this is a good moment for him. He thought he wasn't going to make it. It's a good story to see, but it's also very interesting. It's real interesting to go and see that. But to see what happened with Deuce Vaughn and his dad call him and shoot
Hmm.
that video, I was like, y'all, that's dope. Like
I was
I don't
about
know
to say
how good he gonna be, but
with Vaughn, the Joneses got a first good look on him because they saw Deuce Vaughn when they was playing against TCU in the Big 12 championship game, and he was the main reason why they ended up winning that game. I think he had like 26 carries for like 130, 140 yards and one touchdown. So Deuce Vaughn went off in that Big 12 title game. So Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, McClay, they was able to get a close outlook because the Big 12 championship game is in Arlington. So it was
yep.
played right there in their backyard, and he went off. What's up, Tommy?
Welcome in, bro.
What's up, y'all?
I see you joining us. You working and trying to be on the show at
Hey, man.
the same time.
Look, see, here he go. Like, first of all,
I
check
want
this
a
out,
shirt.
man.
I want a shirt for you.
Hey, you need to have a shirt where the referees is in the picture too. That weird ass shit they pulled, motherfucker. Man, how you just fall on the ground? They call a foul on us. Like, come on, man. That's what we doing. Like, come on, man. But it is what it is. It's gonna be a good series. You feel me?
It
It
is.
ain't.
It's what I wanted. It's what I know. It's what the league wanted. But it's just like I'm not about the whole. I don't want this team. I was like, nah, bro. If you really want to win, you want to see what you got. Cool. If I get knocked out by the Warriors, I got knocked out by the damn Warriors. I could
Yeah.
not take getting knocked out by the Grizzlies. Could not take that.
Yeah, that would have been it. And look, man, like I said, cause I was on God damn, I can't think of my boy name, sports show yesterday, but like I told him, I said, a lot of people not talking about, but y'all got really lucky that Steven Adams and I forget what old boy was out, and nobody
Brandon
was
Um,
even
Clark.
really talking about
yeah,
that.
Brandon Clark.
But
Yeah.
those was huge losses, and because most of these casual basketball fans don't understand how those pieces fit. If I say that, they'll say it's an excuse. But if you look at the way that AD went off, that's a direct relation of them not having somebody like Steven Adams under there to take care of him. Now, am I gonna say he would have shut AD down? No, but if you saw yesterday, AD was gassed by the fourth quarter because even though AD was getting off, Looney made him work for that shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Bro, look, Looney, man, Looney is a beast, and he's a real veteran. Because I called him a few times on the push, and he didn't get called for it. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
bro, you nice with that. He's
Only
nice
thing
with
I
that.
look at that with Looney though, Looney is only Looney. Warriors is too small, so it's like Looney
But they
do
know
his
how to run
best.
with that, though.
Yeah, they had.
They know how to offset it.
It's a what I find interesting about the series. It's a series with two different styles of play.
yeah,
You got one team is an elite shot making team,
yeah.
even though the Lakers was making some shots, but it was majority of the
No,
paint. And you got one team that can use their size.
yeah,
So Lakers advantage to them game one, they was able to use their size because hell, the Warriors made 15 threes. I
yeah,
think 15 more threes than them.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
an extra 45 points.
yeah.
And the Lakers were still keeping up with them and ultimately won the
You know
game
why though, right?
with 2 pointers and five and free
Free
throws.
throw
You
line.
know why though, right? Schroeder had three more free throws than our whole team.
They was just attacking.
Nah, I ain't trying to hear
That's
that
a
shit.
nah.
Well, the
Get,
No, no,
Warriors are a
Hold
perimeter
on.
based
I'm gonna give you
team
two
though.
instances. Gary Payton dunked on LeBron. That was a foul. No foul call. Wiggins got a dunk. I got the screenshot. Anthony Davis went straight across his arms. No foul. Now, am I going to sit here and say pick on every single foul? No. But if you're going to get them that much of a disparity, then I shouldn't be able to pick out obvious fucking fouls that you didn't call. Because if you're going to call fouls, then call them. But don't be picky when we on defense, and then when they on defense, we going to let them slide. You know what I'm saying? So what I respected about the King series was it started off in balance, but then towards the end of the series, they just let us play. If you're going to let us play, let us play. I'm not tripping. But don't, and that's been, and see, that's the funny part is that's been happening with the Lakers all season. If you look at the disparity between them and the rest of the league, they literally,
Hey,
between number two, have like, what is it, 200 and something more free throws than the second place team? They got
we lead the
411
we
free
lead
throws
we
compared to
lead the
what?
league in free throws, and we lead the league in we don't get as many foul calls, like in that
Exactly.
same metric, and
Now,
that's what's the reverse with the Warriors that they're like
exactly.
in the opposite rank. So, but I do think that evens out at some point. But I will say it's one of those deals to where when you root for a team, you always thinking about the calls that you didn't get. I
Well,
never
no. Even
so
with
that
that
so
though.
I understand on that one.
But even with that, y'all only won by 4. I don't expect the series to
Yeah,
be that spirit. Now, the one thing that people don't get is they say, "Oh, well, y'all hit all these shots." Yeah, because what you're not noticing is AD got a decision to make.
yep,
Either he gonna
yep.
challenge the shot and Looney gonna get the rebound, or he
Rebound.
sags off and you gonna give our elite 3-point shooter shots. And that's what people not peeping. So they like, oh well, I don't think Golden State gonna. No, Golden State's gonna shoot like that
They're gonna
as long
shoot.
as he don't come out there. So
Yeah.
either we gonna either kill these motherfuckers with these threes, or Looney gonna kill them on the boards. And that's why I think Golden State gonna probably take it at 5 or 6 because even though we lost that game, what people don't understand about Golden State is anytime we play a team, that first game is usually just to get data. Okay, this is how because I don't know even though if y'all noticed the adjustments, they already made adjustments to basically to kill them towards the end of the game. That zone is about to kill the Lakers because they can't handle it. They don't got 3-point shooters to deal with it, and it gives us people that can sit on Anthony Davis in the middle now. So that zone, and number 2 was they start letting Steph Curry run up the floor with the ball instead of having them off the ball, and that start killing the Lakers. So unless the Lakers make adjustments for that to stop that, they're gonna have issues in the second game. I wouldn't be surprised that second game was a blowout, to be honest with you.
That's the main thing that I'm worried about is the fact that the disparity between Kerr and Mike Brown, who's coached like a lot, he's had a lot of coaching experience before that job, on top of coaching with that team.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, Darvin Ham, this is his first go-round.
Yeah.
And our biggest frustration with him is I watch it in the post game, time after time. Hey, bro, Darvin, when you gonna call that timeout, bro? Hey, bro, they just went up by 12. You gonna call the timeout?
Yeah.
That is like when he happened the other night, and I was like, okay, he got it. He got it one time because if he would have kept going, he would have been one of them Warrior runs. And they showing E40, and it's like, stop it, bro. All the time, like
14-0 run in the fourth to tie it up. 14-0.
And it's he be doing. I'm like, bro, you gotta. And that's the one thing that's gonna hurt us. We can win the series. I picked us in 6, but it's one of those. If we lose, I know why. It's gonna be like, bro, we didn't make the right adjustments. We didn't do this. We didn't. And it's one of those deals to where it's like, look, I still gonna feel confident after this because if you look at since we got all the guys we got, a lot better record. So like my thing is encouraging. My thing is, bro, it effing sucked to sit around and be like, when we gonna trade Russ? When we go that sucked to watch the content that I watched. And I hated that. I was like, bro, I'm excited for this game tonight. And that's every other night. And it's like, I've been a Laker fan my whole life. Bro, I'm used to being up. I'm working from home. F that, man. They'll be all right. I clock in right at 8. Tripping. I'm about to watch this, bro. That game was entertaining, bro. They had me nervous. When Steph got that ball, bro. Yeah, when Steph got that ball, and I was like, when they doubled him, I was like, thank God. If Poole hits that, Poole hits that. I ain't tripping.
See, and then they talking shit about Poole. Dog, Poole hits that shot all the time.
He can make that shot.
Do I agree if he probably could have came in and got a closer one? Yeah, but nigga, I've watched Poole hit that shot all year. Like, so for people to be like, oh my God, I can't. That's why I get so frustrated. People like, y'all clearly don't watch Warriors basketball. Because that's nobody that's a Warrior fan looked at that shot and said, oh my God, that's a shot that he can hit. That ain't a shot that we looked at and said, what the fuck? Like, that's a shot that he clearly can hit.
Well, you got to remember, with Warriors basketball, y'all, Lakers of this is different because even when they was playing bad last year, they kept getting national televised games.
Yeah.
But the Warriors.
Yeah, but they watch people. People watch the Warriors though. That's what's confusing.
But a lot of them, they do, I guess, compared to the rest of them, make like the Nuggets. I say people don't really see it, and they damn sure didn't see the Kings.
No.
They damn sure because you're a West Coast team.
No, I think people watch I think the problem with a lot of people is just people don't know basketball, bro. To be 100 with you, when you hear some of the comments about Draymond Green, it's like, oh, you don't know basketball. That's why Draymond Green called Dylan Brooks an idiot. Because when Dylan Brooks goes, I don't exactly know what he's saying. If you're a basketball player, you know exactly what Draymond does and his value to the team. Now, if you're a casual fan, I get the little idiotic comments, the triple single, yada, yada, yada. But if you're actually a basketball and you've hooped before and you've watched Draymond on defense, he is an animal.
Monster.
His IQ is through the roof. And that's why I was telling people, like, so I made a post on Facebook on purpose after he scored 21 in that Kings series. And I said something about Draymond, and the first thing they went for is, oh, yeah, you're going to post this after he scored 21. I said, the funny thing is, this had nothing to do with the 21. This had something to do with them 2 crucial steals he had to seal the fucking game. But because you motherfuckers don't really know shit about basketball, the only thing you focusing on is, oh, shit, he scored 21. The 21 is cool. I ain't knocking it. But what he does for us on defense, since we've had this dynasty or whatever, I don't know how. Like, he has highlight clips of game saving steals and blocks and shit. Like, the dude is.
He just had a block in the paint. It was somebody going up for a game winner.
Yeah.
He stayed vertical, and then it was just like. And then the thing is, people don't realize, bro. He's 6'7". This league is smaller, but he's the guy that has the wingspan that you want. When he comes and then he can't shoot. Well, you give him the ball, put it in his hands. Last night we kept struggling. Was just like, all right, we playing off of him, and they were like, yeah, we playing off of him. But Draymond's a great. And as soon as he set it off his bucket, and I was like, God.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, my partner was saying, the whole thing of him being with Clutch. He was like, man, I don't want Draymond. And then they showed the video with him stomping on the guy. And I was like, yes, I want that guy on my team.
Yeah.
Yes, I want that guy on my team, bro. Yeah, he gonna get a tech. Yeah, he gonna do this. But when he broke down Dylan Brooks, he's like, oh, I'm not this. Oh, well, I did that. Oh, when you have more championships, I talk that much. Oh, I made this deep. When that man said I made this defense, I was like, well, yes, bro. He calls out your set. That Kobe stuff, the other great players that come out. Nobody gives him credit for that.
He literally sat with the coaches and made that
And
defense.
made it. Like, for real. Because he said I made this defense. I thought he was just talking. Like, no, he for real?
No,
that's elite.
Said that before. No, they've said that before.
That's elite.
They've talked with the coaches. Like, Draymond literally sits in the draft room, bro. He sits in the draft room when they draft. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I tell people, like, a lot of people can't talk to me about the Warriors because I'm really a Warriors fan. Like, I look at, see, I already know Steph hit threes. That's not what I'm looking at. When I'm looking at Steph, I'm looking at the effort he put out on defense. That's why I always had an argument with people when they say he's trash on defense. I'm like, yeah, that he trash. He puts out the effort. He's just small. He's 6'2".
He put the effort out, and then the thing is, people don't. I think when he worked on his strength, they used to always. I remember last year I was watching this, and they always put him through those screens, and he ain't that scrawny little dude no more. He can fight a little bit off that screen, and as long as he gives the effort, that's cool. You got Looney and you got Green and you got now you got Wiggins playing the defense. So it's just like, nah, they definitely are a hell of a team. And I appreciate talking ball with you because I hate it when people is just focus on things a certain way and everything is because you gave your point about the refs, but then you went on to the other point. So I sure appreciate that, man. That's real ball. That's real ball.
Cry about the refs. It was one point of the game. It's not. I'm not gonna say it's 100% what killed this, but if you notice, like when we started the game off on 10-2, and then what got him back in there? That whistle. And that's my thing. Is like, bro, if you're gonna let us play, let us play. But if you're not, then don't. But don't have it on. And see, this is my thing with Laker fans. All I heard when y'all was up was, we the champs. We get the whistle. We the champs. We get the. Bro, this is the most disrespected champs I've ever seen in my life, bro. Steph Curry stay with scratches on his arms and shit because motherfuckers is pulling them, this, that, and the other. Sabonis, bro, they had a highlight reel of him pushing motherfuckers in the back, running full speed, dragging Draymond down.
He grabbed Draymond, bro. Like, he should have been. My thing is, if you're going to suspend, you got to suspend them both. You got to suspend them both. That was all. Now, but then people was like, yeah, I was like, if you take it to just the on-court, but yeah, Draymond, because they had a stoppage, he was egging on the crowd. I love this shit. That's my type of player. Yeah. I want that. But the thing was not as bad as people made it to look at. I didn't like that. He got to play. He didn't get suspended.
Because him doing that to the crowd is like showing up what he did. So I get why they did that. Like, you can't keep doing it. And then
that's the one.
The commissioner there.
The commissioner them being there. They had to stand on that.
Yeah, it's like you getting in a fight at school. If you get in a fight at school and the principal right there, it's gonna be a lot worse than if you get in a fight at school and he ain't there. You feel me? So I got that, but like I said, like the thing that was encouraging for me was you guys won by what 4 points, 5 points.
Yeah.
With the free throw disparity like that, I don't think that free throw disparity gonna stay like that. So if you take a 30 off free throws away, we win by 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying?
One comment I gotta make about the free throws though, and I understand what the calls and the disparity between the amount of attempts for both teams. Golden State for that game was primarily, because I was just looking it up, perimeter shooting.
No,
Lakers was doing more work in the paint.
Yeah.
No, so Golden State shot over 53. So
I think that's gonna change for game 2, because like Tommy said, he's gonna have to get on those shooters. He's gonna have to get on those shooters. We're gonna have to give up some offensive boards, and we just gonna have to have more effort. I saw Wiggins getting boards, and they was fighting it, and they just could not make a shot. It was one of them rare times they did not get that shot.
As good as we shot for 3, Wiggins was 1 for 5. That ain't gonna stay like that. You know what I'm saying? Gary Payton II, he usually hit that corner 3. He usually money from that corner 3. So you keep letting him out there if you want to. He gonna get us a game if you keep just letting him sit out there, because he usually money from that corner 3. I mean, easy money. So
that's my team, but I think it's going back 1-1, because I'll tell everybody, hey, it's hard to win in that Chase. It's hard to win in Chase. It was hard to win in Oracle. It's hard to win against them at home. Period. No matter what area you look at, we believe none of that. So it's just like, yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, but it's gonna be a fun one. God damn, it was
Yeah,
fun. I was like,
I think it's gonna be a good series. I
The
just,
points
like
that
I
I was
said,
making
go ahead.
about Draymond is basically kind of similar
Uh,
with the Sixers, PJ Tucker. Because a lot of people
yeah,
make fun of him because it's even worse. Because you look at his box score,
boy,
no points, maybe about four
5 boards.
rebounds or
He had
stuff.
no points. He had like 5 boards, bro.
But
He was
his intangibles is obviously top notch because it's teams who are making championship pushes going out and trading for him. So I'm like, he's doing
well, no,
that.
he's a great
He's doing
piece.
something that's really valuable to his squad.
He's a great piece, but I wouldn't put him on the level of Draymond. The only reason why I say that is because Draymond also will orchestrate our offense. So
Yeah,
even if
yeah.
Draymond don't score, he'll still get you
It's just
six,
looking
seven, eight
at when
assists.
people like the box, people
Oh
like
yeah,
the.
absolutely, yeah.
that's
I always say there's only one sport where I don't have to watch a game. I can just look at the stat line and I can tell you exactly how that player is.
Shit,
That's
baseball.
baseball.
Yeah,
baseball.
baseball.
That's about it. Because
Football,
it's
football is misleading because it
Yeah,
depends on the style of play. Basketball is misleading because it depends on the style of play. Baseball because it's so analytics driven, so
well,
analytics, and I don't like
you
the
know another
fact
part
that
too.
basketball is kind of
Football and basketball got junk time. So you can have a quarterback that in
yeah,
junk time throw for 200 extra yards, and damn, he threw for 400 yards. Well, yeah, but
yeah.
when it mattered, he only had a buck 70. You know what
that
I'm saying?
Matthew
Or
Stafford bang.
yeah,
Boy, he was the
And
king of that.
and
Oh my, hey,
if a batter hits 300, damn, this
he
dude
gets
can hit.
300.
yeah,
If he
yeah,
has
yeah.
50 home runs, this dude has
Oh,
power.
Ricky Henderson at them stolen bases.
He
Go,
has
You
speed.
can,
So
you
I
got
can
go.
to,
and
yeah,
and I'm not even going to the like the on base percentage, on
yeah,
base plus
Yeah,
percentage.
yeah,
You could if you know how to read all those analytics stats and that, I can tell you exactly how that player is.
yeah.
yeah.
And that's the only sport I can think of. Maybe some other sports, but out the three main U.S. sports, football and basketball, you can't. So that when I look at Draymond and P.J. Tucker, a lot of people like the box score.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
box score. I'm trying to think of another label, but they try to determine
They
a
box score
player.
watch.
Yeah. So both of them and Tucker's worse with at just the points. They're like, oh, these dudes they suck because I'm like, both of these dudes are starting on their respective squads, and one of them is you take Draymond out, the Warriors are not the Warriors. Tucker,
Absolutely.
his value is so high. Championship team aspiration teams are trading for him. So there's
Yeah,
something about these dudes. They got that intangible, but though, you know, a lot of say like y'all was talking about. A lot of people just like to box score watch,
Yeah.
and they think, you know, 'cause a lot of times if you're not in basketball, that's one of my pet peeves in basketball when all they look at is offense. I'm like,
yeah.
man, it's a whole other side of the
It's
ball
on the
over
side
here,
of the ball.
man. But
And speaking of the Celtics, they're leading right now against the.
yeah,
Unfortunately, they're leading right now against the 76ers, 50 to
50.
42.
Yeah,
And Embiid did come back, but shout out to Embiid. Shout out to Embiid because I was getting tired of him kind of moping about the damn MVP. I'm glad he won it. I'm proud of him. But I need him to go ahead the same way I had a standard for Jokic. He had the injury, so he couldn't, get to the rank, at least the conference finals. I need him to win this series. I need him to come back, battle through the injury. Hopefully it's not too tough and win this series. Harden spotted you a game one with a classic Harden game. Like I was out to eat, and it was not, man. It was a Monday. Wasn't nobody really in there, man. When Harden hit that step back three, sounded like a full bar, man. Everybody, I was like, yes, Celtic hate is good for your heart. But and I was glad that
we've
they
been
won.
through that as a Rockets fan because Rockets fan was getting so they were
Yeah,
so it felt like they wanted Harden and this MVP chase because I guess
validation.
yeah they wanted this they care more about Harden's MVP race than the championship. I'm like man, so when Harden finally got his MVP, okay, now leave that alone now. Push us. We trying to get a championship. We got a championship
Hmm.
contender squad. Let's look at a ring. Cause nobody, yeah, the MVP, yeah, but people look at rings. So, and unfortunately, they was just going against a juggernaut Warriors, who I believe the Rockets challenged them more than any other team in the NBA. But they just couldn't get over that hump. But yeah, in Houston,
It's hard.
they were so focused on Harden and his MVP. And 'cause you remember they saying he got robbed when Russell Westbrook got it. He got robbed when Steph got it. And he finally won it. I'm like, okay, he got it.
Y'all said that?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a
because
thing.
they changed it because when Steph won it the second time, with the NBA MVP, it always kind of been best player on the best squad. That's kind of
There's no
and
possible way they should have known that him going 73-9. That was a shoe in. That was
yeah.
one of those
So
where I didn't
when
even pay attention.
because Harden had I guess the higher stats in some categories. So people say, okay, best player on the best team, he won that. When Russell Westbrook won it, it was reversed. Harden was a better
Okay.
player on a better team, but Westbrook averaged a triple double stats. So they
Now I
gave
see.
it to
I got it.
him. So then the following season, Harden so the Rockets fan base kept looking at Harden getting cheated, and all they kept talking about was MVP, MVP, MVP. I'm like, man, I can really care less about MVP. Congratulations if you win it. That probably is a better negotiation tool when it comes to your contract.
Good for your
But
legacy.
I won't
But a championship ring is even better for your legacy.
Exactly. So
Yeah, Paul Pierce would not have had a better legacy with the MVP versus winning the chip and getting that Finals MVP.
So the Embiid thing kind of went the same way because, like you say, Embiid they kept whining because think about it, was the player he was going against. He was about to go 3 straight MVPs, which has been And Denver is looking real good. Denver, they just because nobody talks about them.
I told them no bench that we set up here and talked about it. If y'all could consistently come to the show, shout us out every week, 7 p.m. Central. Man, we told you they didn't have a bench. We told y'all that. Like, don't look surprised looking around like, and once again, like Tommy B said, hey, bro, y'all really not watching hoops. Y'all really not paying it. Bro, the Clippers pushed it way harder than it needed to be because they have a better team.
Now Paul is out again, and I think he's going to be out for 3 and 4.
He's gonna be out for some games. But let's be real. NBA fan bases have motives, and they have people that they don't like. They do not like Chris Paul. They're about to slide. First of all, this team doesn't have enough to make it. They don't have enough yet. They can add some pieces with, I'm pretty sure they don't have a draft pick, but they can get some second-round guys. They have changed the CBA rules. I will say this, Johnny. Let's make a note to during the summer, right before the free agency, which it comes fast because it's like we get the finals and then all that comes. Let's go ahead and go over the new CBA rules because I think that'll be important to be like, what are the realistic expectations for teams to make in the summer? But I do think the Suns are gonna have to make some changes and just add some things. But like, I don't even give them like the worst mark for not winning this series unless they get swept. Now if they get swept, I gotta hold them to the same standard that first of all, that'll be 2 straight years the KD got swept out the playoffs, which is it's tough to a player as great as him. It does happen. Like it does happen. It's just that's the game of basketball. But I don't know, man. The Nuggets might be going to the finals. Just depend on the matchups because they are a really good team. But as a number 1 seed, that's what you're supposed to get. You're supposed to get. You're not. Man, I'm so disappointed in my boy Giannis now. Damn, I'm so.
I look at the other series in the East, which is going to be a good series. That's Miami versus New York, and the Knicks was barely able to get it without a Jimmy-less Heat squad. But the benefit to that one, okay, so game 1 with them was what, Sunday? Was it this past Sunday? They played yesterday.
Yeah.
They don't play again till Saturday. So Jimmy Butler will have almost a week to heal that ankle. So that was a benefit because no other series has that big of a gap. So that is a blessing in disguise for Butler to get his ankle because the Knicks had their handful. And I don't know if you caught it, and I forgot what time of the game, but there was a shot they showed at Jimmy, and you can see him just nodding. He had a slight smile. He was just nodding.
Yeah.
Cause how they just y'all barely beat us, and I wasn't on the court. Cause I'm telling you, man, I know I want to get off. Playoff Jimmy is legit. This dude, when he turns into playoff Jimmy, he can deny it all he wants. He act like he don't know what people talking about. When
Boy,
that
LeBron,
dude turned to play off Jimmy, he literally plays like he the best damn NBA player
top.
in
He
the
goes
league. He
one
like
one through
he's better
82.
than everybody because he
1 through 82, top 25 player. Playoffs, top five.
he plays
And it's
like
just like,
he's top one
what in the
because
hell?
nobody can stop him. You know he's gonna like when he went off against the Bucks.
Bucks.
His
The
points was
tip
they
in.
needed those points. They needed them. Nobody else could score. Jimmy just said, "Give me the damn ball and just go." And that's why you kept seeing him get in the face of Holiday. Like, and Holiday's supposed to be a elite defender.
Elite
He
defender.
can't
Doesn't
guard him.
matter.
So that's what I'm saying, man. Playoff Jimmy is legit, and when this dude is on, this dude turns literally. He will literally play like he's the best player in the NBA because nobody on the opposing team could stop him. I'm like, damn, dude, this dude, he was just, and he's not really a 3-point shooter, and he's shooting
Mm-mm.
threes and they going in. He just locks up. So I'm like, hey, the Knicks, yeah, they was barely able to get past by the head of their chinny-chin-chins yesterday. Because when Butler come back, because this is an 8 versus 5, which is already kind of
Yeah,
a
it's
weird thing,
our
but
in the playoff. This is the first. This is the first time that every seed is represented in the second round, man. This is some crazy playoffs, and it's just like, hey, you really gotta. I don't know. You really gotta buckle up, and your guys gotta tighten up and perform at a high level. Like they gotta really lock in. Because Jimmy's locked in. I guarantee you the team up. I guarantee you the Warriors are locked in. The Lakers is locked in. Like the guys, if you don't want to focus or you want to kind of be like that's the one thing that I kept hearing in the Lakers prep for this. I was like, bro, this team is going to be ready. Like they was like, this is not what the Grizzlies were, and they got them in the hole like the way they just laid down that last game, it was like, bro, I thought y'all had more fight than that. And I like y'all. But I was like, y'all supposed to have more
and
fight than
that's
that.
and that's
That was
what got
just
that's why the Grizzlies basically gonna part ways with Brooks
hmm
because like you say, it's a different mindset in these playoffs, and you just can't go running your mouth and then perform like you did. Because you
and
got
then
two
and then
dudes
skip the
over
presser.
there.
Skip the presser. That's embarrassing. Stop skipping the presser when hey man, you talk big after game two. But my thing is I respect Bane. Bane said after game one, hey Rui, he basically dissed him and said, bro, that's the best game that man had in his life. Like basically, I bet you won't do it again. First three games,
And
Rui ball, and then he tailed off. So Bane wasn't lying. But he talked. You talked after game two, game three, when he came up and scored, y'all scored 9 points in a quarter, and then y'all fought back. Like at that game, I was glad they blew him out. I was watching the fight. I'm like, cool, watch the fight. This is over. Then game four, tight one. Game five, they beat us up. They won that one in Memphis. That was predictable. And then they just like
that
that was
Bane
rough.
matchup, that was the matchup I was looking at because the Lakers it was a challenge for them staying with Bane
But Bane,
because he
yeah.
kept moving. And I said, okay, when you
Mm.
play against the Warriors, you might as well pump that up 10 times because the whole team moved.
Whole
So
team.
that's what I got at the game yesterday because the Lakers was making shots and with the free throws and stuff like that. But I know it's only one game. They're conditioning. They're conditioning. Cause I remember that game, the one that they lost against the Grizzlies. They looked tired as hell,
Yeah.
and they conditioned gonna be put to the test. I'm like, I saw the challenge y'all had with chasing just one player, and Desmond Bain as he going around screens. You got two elite
Yeah.
dudes who move out the ball. Clay is still. It looks like Clay is just still trying to get his rhythm going. He just still. But once he's going, I'm like, man, y'all gonna have to.
So
They really gonna be stretching y'all out
yeah.
thin
So
on defense.
well, I know we got to get these last thoughts in, as y'all see on the screen. So basically, man, I'll let you go, Shadi, and I'll get mine last because I know what I want to kind of get at. But I mean, I touched on it some, but you can go ahead and go.
Well, my final thoughts, I'm looking at the game so far, man, minus the Suns and Nuggets. Um, I like the matchups because basically, what is it, 4 games going on right now?
Mm,
3 of the 4 are all very close. The way they playing has been very close, And I like the parity in the league now because even though Denver, I don't know if it was wire to wire that they finished the 1 seed throughout the season, people wasn't giving them the respect. They just wasn't giving them no attention. And now, a lot of times you're a first place seed, and many times it's the first time people really looking at you when the playoffs started.
Yeah.
But I'm liking the quality of play. Many of them, you're seeing some good shot making basketball going on. Yeah, it's all except that the Suns looked like they could have taken that game too, but when Paul got hurt, it changed, and you saw the difficulties with Booker and KD just getting off their shot. The offense looked a little bit more. It had to work harder just to get a shot off. Because
Yeah.
with the Nuggets, man, they move that ball. They move that ball inside out with Jokic, and he'll find somebody, or they just swing it. And they just make their shots, man. It's like once they get
Yeah.
going, they almost similar to the Warriors. Once they shots start going, they just go.
And then that altitude.
And they know they're a good team, but they don't say nothing. They just know we'll see you on the court, and there's a strong chance that you're gonna be going home. But they don't say nothing because a lot of people don't respect them on the outside. But that team is extremely good, and people just don't know about them. But right now, if you're looking at these playoffs, it's the Nuggets and it's everybody else. The way they go, because yeah, they may look like a tight game at times. Also, they have a run and they just extend it and they beat you by double digits.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. My biggest thing is I wonder how battle tested they will be if the Suns are gonna make this a fight. But the one thing I wanted to kind of touch on is I touched on it a little bit when we was talking to drafts and stuff and who did good. With Aaron Rodgers gone, man, the NFC, I'll say specifically the NFC East, kind of has a stranglehold because obviously you got the team that's the reigning NFC champ. Then you got another team that was in the divisional round in the Cowboys. You got, well, two teams, the Cowboys and the Giants. The Giants I don't believe in, but I will say the Cowboys and the Eagles. The winner, whoever wins the NFC East, will probably be the top seed because you got Aaron Rodgers is gone. I do think the Bears had a solid draft and a good offseason, but I think it's going to be real interesting. I know Colin Cowherd made a graphic of the top 10 teams in the NFC, and I laugh at this point. I'm not the old Cowboy fan of me, like, hey, that's crazy. Go ahead and put Geno Smith-led Seattle Seahawks above the Cowboys. Go right ahead and put them at 3. Rightfully put the Niners at 2. They were in the NFC Championship, but they have quarterback question mark. But to put the Cowboys behind the Seahawks, you already know what it is. It's trolling. And so it's just like, I just want to say this to my Cowboy fans as the all season's about to get real quiet. Don't get trolled. Don't get trolled. Don't let fan bases that aren't as smart or fans that aren't as smart, don't let them bait you into debates that are just crazy. Even though I do it in my group chat all the time, I don't do it publicly. Just don't let them bait you into stuff because it's going to be between those two teams. It absolutely is. And,
you see, Black Man, before we jump off, he had to take one
Scott,
shot at the
yeah,
Cowboys, the
man,
Eagles.
I mean, he said that, but the Cowboys definitely record was 1-1 last year, and the number one defense, they got shredded. The number one defense got shredded. I mean, it's not a lie. You can go back and look at the tape. I know Cowboy fans get called delusional, so some of us are, not me though. But yeah, they definitely shredded the number one defense with a guy that one of the catches he gave up a 40-yard bomb on a guy that was off the couch a couple weeks ago. I'm just saying, but that's all we got. I love ending the show, ending perfectly, taking a shot at the Eagles. I love it. I'm Dante. This is the Black Man on Twitter Network, 101 Sports Show, man. Appreciate y'all. We will holler at y'all next week. Give an update with those second round matchups.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.